Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. Welcome to this tutorial on how to cut out stamped images using the Brother ScanNCut. I want to recognize my friend Tina, who is one of my downlines on my team, and Tina bought this really cute stamp set and she came over today and I said, oh, can I borrow this because these little Santas look so cute and I could color them and see if I can cut them out with the ScanNCut. And so thank you, Tina, for letting me use your stamp set. All right, so what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is show you from start to finish how to cut out this Santa here, because this Santa is the one I had the most success with using the Brother ScanNCut. And that's because it has well-defined black lines and really nice outline. Now, if you notice, this Santa here, it has a lot of little extra little lines around it, like to show movement on the scooter, okay? And then this one had a lot of extra like little hairs and things. It just was, these were just harder to scan and cut. Okay, but I love this stamp set. I'm going to show you in our holiday catalog, this is the 2018 holiday catalog, where it is. Okay, and you can still request a catalog because this is good until January 3rd. I'll leave the link in the description. Okay, so this is on page 23 of the holiday catalog. And I'm using just the regular stamps, the rubber stamps, and it's 23. Not the wood blocks. I'm just doing, the stamps that you mount onto a clear block. Okay, so prior to this tutorial, and there's a little sample in the holiday catalog, which is very inspiring, with the Santa with the surfboard. Okay, so what I wanted to say about it is that because I'm coloring using the blends, okay, prior to this tutorial, I stamped my Santas using Memento Black Ink, because then I'd color them in with the blends. And I'm going to show you all that. So please stick around till the end because you're going to get to see the projects I made using this cute little Santa. I thought it would be great for craft fairs because I do a lot of candy treats and things, and I said, oh, this little Santa would be great on the top of a candy treat because of the sentiments that have to do with sweetness. All right, so here's the ScanNCut. I'm using the CM350 or the ScanNCut 2 model. There's a whole playlist on lots of tutorials using the ScanNCut, so please check out my playlist. Okay, the first thing you need to do when you have something, you have your image on your mat. Okay, I'm just going to rub it down, and if you don't have a sticky mat, then use some painter's tape to hold your image down onto your mat. But this one's pretty new, so it's very sticky. Okay, so you're going to load your mat. That's the first thing you need to do. I don't have my stylus, so I'm just going to use my little spatula to load my mat. That's this button right here. Let me get out of the way so I'm not blocking it. Okay, so you load your mat. Okay, my mat didn't quite load very straight, so I'm going to go ahead and unload my mat. Okay, I'm just going to do that one more time. In fact, let me do this. Let me show you from far away, because I was trying to do it with one hand, that you really should use two hands. Okay, so I'm going to hold one hand for loading, and I'm going to put one hand here and one hand with that button I just showed you, the load mat button. See, now it went in straight, okay? So now that's just a troubleshooting tip. Don't try to load the mat with just like one hand and on this button and no hand on the mat. You need a hand on the mat. All right, so we've loaded the mat. Now I'm going to select scan because we want to scan in the stamped image. Okay, now I'm going to select direct cut because what I want to do is I want to directly cut this image. I don't want to save it, so that's why I'm using the direct cut. This is just asking where I temporarily want to store the image, and I'm going to select the machine. I'm just going to store it in the machine. It's not really going to store because I'm going to cut it and erase it. Okay, the recognition mode is black and white recognition mode because I'm cutting out a nice, clear, well-defined black lines. And let's just hit start. If I was to cut out pattern paper, which I'll also show, I've shown in many tutorials, and I'll keep showing that. If you're going to cut out pattern paper and it's colored and you're not getting good results, then you would use color recognition mode. But for the most part, just use black and white recognition mode. And if that works, you don't need to use color. Color takes a lot longer. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to say okay. That's my Santa. I'm going to say okay. And it did a great job selecting that Santa. If I had a whole page of these, I could have just cut them all out at once. But just in the interest of saving time, I only wanted to just show you one. Now, what I'm doing right now is just to save me from having to get rid of those little bits. I'm just zooming into the part I want. And I'm just selecting the part I want, and that's the Santa right there. Okay, and I don't want all these little bits. Now, the next thing I want to do, and I need to show you this so you see my example, is I want to put an outline distance around Santa. Okay, this is an outline distance. And the outline distance means that around the black line, you're going to have a little outline around it. So I'm going to choose this one here, this option here. And I'm going to put an outline distance of 0.04. That's standard, that's what I always put. You could put a bigger outline distance, but 0.04 works really well. And I'm going to say okay. I'm going to say okay again. And there's my Santa. And now all I have to do is cut. But before that, I don't want you to miss any steps. I want to show you that right now I'm using a standard blade holder, meaning it's the blue one. It's not a deep cut blade, it's the standard blade. Okay, it's the one that comes with the machine. And I'm using a blade depth of 4. So always use the blade depth. Do a little test cut and use the blade depth that works best for you. I can see the blade sticking out just a tiny bit, and my cardstock is not very thick. It's whisper white. Okay, so I use a blade depth of 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and say cut, and it's not going to take us very long to cut. I'm just going to click cut and start. It says a minute, but that's because it always goes by minutes, and this is actually going to take less than a minute. Okay, it cut for us. Now we're going to say finish cutting. Let it focus there. Okay, finished. Okay. Now we're going to unload the mat, and then I'll show you how to get the image off the mat. So we're going to unload it. We're going to move the machine out of the way, and then I can give you a better look. Okay, so we're going to just first of all peel the whisper white cardstock, and you're left with little Santa stuck on the mat. And normally my images fall right off because my mats are not very sticky after a while. But this one's fairly new, so let's just use the spatula because we don't want to rip these little spoons, okay? So we're going to use the spatula on these, especially on these little parts on the edge. And I'm going to use the spatula on the bottom. Okay, and normally you would just bend the mat and the images would fall right off. But if you have a new mat, use the little spatula. It comes with the machine. It's very simple, okay? So there you are. And now I'm going to show you some treats. Literally treats, okay? A treat that I made and then a little card. Okay, so here's our result, which is fantastic. What would be even more fantastic is if we colored this Santa. Okay, so today I colored the Santa. Now, I'm going to show you first my card and then my treat, and then I want to show you somebody else's design that I got from one of my swaps. Okay, so there's the Santa before, and here's Santa after. So I used the Stampin' blends, which are our markers. They're our alcohol markers from Stampin' Up. And I used Christmas colors like cherry cobbler, old olive, okay? And I colored in, and some other colors, and I colored in Santa. And not only that, I put some Wink Costello on Santa. So he has, I just want to focus that. Let me focus the camera. Okay, there you go. I hope you can see the little glitter on Santa. He's super, super cute. But as I was doing this, I said, oh, sugar and spice make Christmas nice. And I was like, and then there was also a sentiment that said, may the season be the sweetest ever. And I thought these would make great treat toppers. So then I embarked upon a mission to make what I always make, and I've done tutorials on these, is nugget treats. Let me pull this back so you can see the whole nugget treat. Okay, I hope you can see that. To turn it sideways a little bit and focus the camera. Okay, so there's a nugget treat, and I could have even put them on a little wobble spring if I wanted, but this is just getting started, and this is my first example. I really love this because it says, may the season be the sweetest ever, and this contains Hershey Nuggets, and I used the gold foil paper that's in our catalog, our holiday catalog, and then you always should put, that when you make Hershey Nugget treats, you should always put contains nuts, and then your contact information, because if you give these out, people want more, and they can say, oh, how can I get more? And you can say you can order them, or if you sell them at craft fairs. Okay? Even when I give them as gifts, it's really funny because sometimes people order them from me. Can I get more for my whole, class of students or parents in my scout organization or something? Okay? So there's your nugget treat, and this is using, by the way, All Is Bright Designer Series paper, which is also part of our holiday catalog. Now, you might be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this stamp set, but I do not have a Brother ScanNCut, and maybe Santa's not going to bring you one for Christmas. So you're like, but I still, want to make cute things with this stamp set. So I just want to show you that if you use this is also what we experimented with today. If you use hey, I can see myself, the 2 1/4 inch circle punch on this Santa, then it's perfect. I mean, it's actually the right size. 2 1/4 inch circle punch. Okay, so there is the result of that. And I think he's cute as well. And he'd even be cuter if I used Wink Estella. I'm gonna actually put some little sparkles on him, on this one too, so it makes it glitter. Okay, so this is just a card front, and I'm gonna have to mount it onto. These are little Whisper White, like note cards, okay? So that's what I'm making little cards to put with gifts and things. Okay, now, when I went to On Stage, which is an event for Stampin' Up demonstrators, a couple weeks ago, or maybe now it's a few weeks ago, in Paris, I came back and I did 6 videos on all my swaps, and one of the many swaps I received was this swap here. And it just was so inspiring. It's so cute. Okay, so the translation, I was in France, so of course I get the French examples, and this says, ho, 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 who needs snow? I mean, love it. And so you can just do so much with this stamp set. This happens to be a tea holder, and here's the person. I don't want to give away their phone number, but here's the demonstrator. I want to give credit where credit's due. And she put a little, let me open it up. She used real red ribbon and put a little tea bag in there. How awesome is this little pocket? Okay, so, and then today, my friend Tina, she made a ton of cards using this stamp here. Just scootering by with a Christmas high, because she's making cards. But I think I'm just going to stick with this one because, first of all, it cuts out really good with the ScanNCut, so I'm going to cut some more. I've already colored loads of them. It's really easy when you color them all at once. You just simply, you color in all the faces and then the legs, and then you color in all the boots. And I found it kind of easy to just cut them out and color them at the same time. Okay? And people ask me a lot of times, why do I color after I cut out? Well, because you don't want to waste time coloring them unless they cut out nicely, or else you could still use a circle punch. But it's just, also the other reason is, if you color outside the lines, then the Brother ScanNCut will recognize that, and that's what will end up cutting. So that's why if you mess up your coloring, then the ScanNCut will catch on to that. Okay, well, let me know if you have any questions about the Brother ScanNCut, and please comment in the description if you have any questions, or if you want to know about the models, because I have a couple different machines and a couple different Brother ScanNCut models, and I can compare them for you. So thank you for watching. This is the Paper Chef. See you next time.